And we are live. What's up, everyone? It's nice to see everyone today. I am joined with my good friend Squash, who is still a little under the weather, but I'm glad that you're here today. How are you doing, Squash?
Not too bad. A little under the weather, like you say, but I'm excited to talk about stuff that we haven't talked about in a while.
Me too. Let's get you over the weather.
Yeah.
I've been a little, I don't know, not really under the weather, but I've been coughing a little bit too. So it's that time of the year. Everyone's sick. Everyone's got colds. But it's Thanksgiving week here in the U.S.
Yep.
I'm excited for that. I'm trying to get everyone in the world to celebrate Thanksgiving because it's my favorite holiday in the world. And if anybody asks me what it is, then I just tell them the truth. You just eat all day and you get fully stuffed, and then you eat some more, and then you wait a little while, and then you eat some more, and then you all pass out, and then wake up, and then eat leftovers.
I understand why it's your favorite holiday now.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It really does sound like it.
It needs to be a world holiday.
Maybe.
Hi, each. It sounds just like a regular day to you. Sid says he got our 20-pounder for the first time hosting a family dinner. That's a huge bird.
That is pretty big.
Hi, Zeptimus. Nice to see you. I hope you guys are doing well. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. We didn't do a podcast last week because Squash was feeling pretty bad. So let's just jump in. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Okay.
Let's start with Death Stranding. You want to?
Yeah, sure.
So how far into it are you?
I'm on chapter 6 of I think 8. I think there's 8 in the game, maybe more. I have no idea.
I think there's quite a bit more.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm misinterpreting things. But yeah, I've kind of hit a major story point where I'm at, and it was enticing, and I want to play more. But I haven't really played any this past week because I've been distracted by other games. Kind of since before Fallen Order came out, I haven't played any since then.
It's kind of the same for me.
Yeah, I'd played a bit more since our last podcast, and it's kind of just more of the same, I guess, except the story stuff I can't speak about. But yeah.
Are you still enjoying it?
I know that I want to get back to it because like once I'm playing it, hear me out. When I'm playing it, I'm enjoying it, but it's one of those games that like I struggle to sit down and play, but when I'm playing it, I'm like addicted.
Yeah, I think it's very much the same way for me too. I haven't played it in quite a while either because, like you, I've been preoccupied with a lot of other games. Been playing lots of, finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I finished Luigi's Mansion. Finished Dark Souls 2. So I've been trying to finish a lot of games, and I've also started on some other games. But yeah, there's definitely something about it. I don't know. Death Stranding just completely took me by surprise. I thought I was going to hate this game. And I mean, the verdict is definitely still out, but I didn't expect to be so intrigued by the story. I thought the story was just going to be a mess and just be super confusing and just convoluted and not make any sense. But everything about it is very, very just intriguing is I feel like the best word for me. It just keeps me wanting to find out more. And honestly, I don't find it too slow as far as like the pacing goes. Now, again, I'm still very early on. I think I'm in chapter 3 or maybe chapter 4. But so many people that I was listening to, like on other podcasts, were saying that chapter 2 was like really, really slow, and if you could get through chapter 2, then you might like it. But I didn't find chapter 2 as slow at all. I found it like very, very well paced, and maybe that's because I'm not really doing any of the side quests or anything like that.
Yeah, that could be it.
That may be a lot of it. I'm just doing kind of like the main story things or the main story missions, but I don't feel like I really need to do any of the side quests. Because I don't feel like I'm low on materials. I feel like I find materials just all the time, just laying around.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. You're probably not like this, and maybe this is just me being weird, but I really, really want to try and start a new game of this offline and see what it would look like.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I just feel that for me personally, the draw of having other online players place down objects and stuff is kind of why I'm playing, because it's all about that connection and stuff.
It's a
I can see
Strand
why
game.
you'd want to try. Yeah, exactly. Gotta commit to the genre. But I can see why you'd want to try it offline for sure.
It's the exact same reason that I play a Souls game offline for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I want to go in totally blind and I don't want any kind of hints or help. I don't want to summon NPCs or anything like that in a Souls game. And then when I finish the game, then I go back through and I play online, and it's like a whole new game because I'm, getting all these markers and messages and NPCs and people that I can summon, and people are invading me. It's not exactly like that with Death Stranding, but there are a lot of similarities. One thing I did notice, I don't know if you've done this, is you can turn off the player signs.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Did you do that?
I haven't done it, but I know that you can do it.
I really liked, I really like it quite a bit better now that I turned those off, because to me those were just annoying. Just seeing like all those signs all over the place, it was a little immersion breaking.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Do you have any complaints about the game, like main complaints?
The one that comes to mind is I wish you had like a Walkman that you could use going around, because I wanted to listen to music kind of as I walked around rather than just coming on randomly.
It's very strange how the music works.
Yeah, it is, because you can only play music kind of like freely when you're in your private room.
Yeah.
And like when you're in your private room, all you're really doing is either using kind of the shower or whatever, drinking the energy drinks, and then kind of leaving. So I don't know why you'd want to put on music for just that stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and especially Kojima. It seems like he would want some kind of an opportunity to like sneak in a product placement of like a Sony Walkman or something like that. But yeah, I agree with you. It's weird that you can't just play music when you're out on doing a delivery or something like that. The way it works, if anybody doesn't know, is sometimes I don't really know how, or if it's just like specific story missions that it'll do it on. But when you're doing a delivery, like you see on screen, it'll just start playing music, and it's really cool. Like, it's very immersive, and the music is really good. I mean, I guess music is very subjective, so some people might not like the music, and I don't think you can turn it off anyway.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen very much at all. Like, I feel like I've only heard maybe 2 or 3 songs that have happened during the missions.
Yeah, I've definitely heard more. I don't think it's mission based. I think it's area based. Because some music definitely feels tailored to certain environments more than others.
Yeah.
Which I think would make sense. And maybe because I've done all the side missions and explored and all that I've maybe heard more music than you have. Whether that's part of it, but
maybe so, yeah. Now that I think about it, I think there have been a couple of instances when a song would play and maybe I just went like on a weird route or something, but it would play like right as I was about to get to my destination.
Yeah, it does that.
Okay.
The one thing I find annoying with that though is that like the music can just cut off at any point.
Yeah.
Like if you go into a BT area, the music will just cut off, and I find that really annoying because it doesn't like start up again after that. Or like if the music's playing, then you enter a bridges area, then the music just cuts out like instantly, and it's kind of just brings you out of it sometimes.
I think one of my slight annoyances is so I've unlocked some of the vehicles now. The bike is the main one,
Hmm.
but a lot of times I feel like, and this really depends on the areas, but so many of the areas have all those stupid rocks, and it's so
Yeah.
hard to drive your bike. And I wish that there were less rocks in a
Hmm.
lot of these areas. And again, I feel like a lot of that is because you're incentivized to create roads, build
Hmm.
roads, and there are roads that are being created in my game. I still don't understand how all of that works. That's why I really want to play it offline to see like if any of that would happen, because I feel like
Mm.
a lot of that is like obviously people are contributing to that, but I feel like a lot of that is like pre-programmed in, but I don't know really, and I'm really curious how that works.
Well, I will say, I built some roads in my game.
Hmm.
I kind of built like four different areas of road that all connected up and connected to this other part of road that had been built by someone else. And I kind of came off and didn't play for a day or two. I came back on and I got a notification that like 120 plus people had used my road, and liked it. And then I got my grade improved, my portal grade improved because of those grade points. And then I unlocked bonuses. So it kind of felt rewarding to be helping other players and also like helping yourself along the way because the roads are going to come in handy when you're
Yeah,
driving bigger vehicles and stuff.
that aspect of the game is really cool, and I've put down a lot of ladders that have gotten a bunch of likes, and
Hmm.
it's really cool. Like when you log back in and you see, like your ladder has been liked 438 times or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's just cool to think about that other people are using that. Um, but I'm still curious. I don't know. I'm gonna have to just do at least start an offline playthrough and see how much of that stuff is pre-programmed in. I mean, I know
Hmm.
obviously not all of it is, but I feel like some of it must be.
Hmm.
How do you feel about the BTs themselves? Like, do you find them annoying when you're going through an area and you come across a BT area and you have to like sneak in? I guess what I'm saying is I personally love the stealth aspect of the game,
Hmm.
but I do find it a little annoying. Like if the BTs actually spot you and then you have to like try and shake them off,
Yeah.
and then if they pull you down and then like you lose your cargo, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
then it can get really frustrating, especially if you're like 20 minutes into a hike or something like that.
Hmm. Yeah. I've only lost my cargo once to BTs because I kind of always managed to shake it off and then dispel them.
Hmm.
Um, But I think in general, when I'm on foot, like strictly, and I'm carrying cargo, when the BTs pop up, it definitely feels like a fun encounter, and I don't mind it. But like if I'm driving a vehicle with a bunch of cargo and I drive through a BT area, I kind of get frustrated because it's like I then have to slow down and speed up at all these different points.
Yeah.
I'm not being stealthy in any way. I'm just like if one appears in front of me or the scanner shows it, I just go in the other direction and like swerve around it. So in cases like that, it's more of an annoyance because like if I'm in a vehicle, I feel like I guess you really shouldn't be affected that much by them, but I guess it makes sense that you are affected because it happens at a certain story point as well. So
Yeah, and I got stuck. I was on the bike one time and I got stuck in a really, really rocky area in the middle of
hmm.
a BT area.
Oh yeah,
And I had to literally just abandon my bike,
I did that too.
which I was able to get it back, which is cool. And then also, it's weird how uh, I don't. There's a lot of things I still don't understand. Like if I had left my bike there, went and completed the mission, would it have just stayed there? I know
I can
that
answer that question.
you can answer that question.
So you know the walk that you have to do from Capital Knot City all the way to Port Knot City,
Hmm.
and you kind of have to go up that really large hill. and you're kind of meant to be on foot because there's BTs there, and you shouldn't really use a vehicle up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took my bike, and I had to ditch my bike, and so I made the delivery, and then later on, I had a side delivery that meant I had to come back, kind of scale down this hill again, back into the main area and deliver another package. And so on the way back, my bike was still there. It was pretty rusty because of the time fall that had happened since then. But I could still use it, and I got it all the way down to Port Knot City, and it survived, and I repaired it, and it was all.
So the battery hadn't died or anything like that?
No, the battery hadn't run out.
Interesting.
It was just like the vehicle's general durability had decreased.
So I wonder if it can, like, if the durability can go down low enough to where you can't use it.
I definitely think it can, because I think once the durability's gone, the battery's like dead.
Yeah.
And it can't be charged. And I don't know if you can repair bikes on the go in terms of their durability.
That's what I was wondering, if you could like
charge them.
Yeah, I wonder if you could build a charging station there. I don't know. There's still so many questions that I have about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, most of it you kind of either figure out by yourself, or like you come across it naturally.
But the other thing is, like when you go to one of your safe rooms or whatever, you can almost always get a bike from someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I've noticed that. Have you?
Yeah. There's always like trucks or bikes available.
Yeah.
Which is handy in some cases, but I just tend to use my own.
Right. So you said you're on chapter 6?
Yeah, chapter 6. And I've got like 28 hours in the game.
Okay. I think I'm about 16 or 17 hours in.
Okay. I think from kind of my point onward, I'm just going to binge the story.
Yeah.
Because my grade is already above like 200. And I've seen people beat the game who are like on grade 213, so I won't feel too bad.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what my grade is, but I just don't feel like it matters right now. And maybe it will later. Maybe I'm making a huge mistake and I'm going to regret not... Do you think I am?
Well, you're not making a huge mistake, but getting your grade higher gives you bonuses, like you can carry more weight. Or
I can carry like 245 kilograms or something just on my body.
I can carry like 360 kilos.
But I don't feel like I ever need that much. And then I can take the bike, and then I have like that little sled thingy that I can take additional weight on.
Yeah, the floating carriers.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm kind of at a point where I've come across deliveries that are over 1,000 kilos. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting.
The weight definitely gets up there.
Okay. It's I don't know. I'm still very much intrigued, and I haven't ever been this surprised by a game. I don't think, as far as thinking like I was going to hate this game, and really, really liking it.
Yeah,
and
it is a really nice feeling.
I don't know. I really like the gameplay too. I think it's really fun. I don't think it's boring. You know, so many people say it's a walking simulator, but I think it's way, way, way more than that.
I do too, honestly. I don't know. I think people kind of just overlook it in quite a lot of ways, especially people who haven't played it. Because I definitely think it's a game you need to play to truly understand
it. Is,
or hate it.
Yeah, and I mean, it definitely is not going to be for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
If you bring it down to the very basics, it is a delivery simulator, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it really is.
The story is very interesting to me, and very intriguing. And yeah, I definitely want to play more.
I think I honestly just have so much respect for the fact that this is something completely new and unique, which in this year is like very, very rare. So
yeah, it's been a weird year.
I give so much credit to it.
Anything else you want to say about Death Stranding?
I really need to play more of it.
Yeah, I'm excited to play more too.
I think by the next time we talk, I probably will have, and maybe even beaten it. Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows?
Let's see. Let's talk about Fallen Order. You want to?
Yeah, sure.
You and I have both finished it, I believe, right?
Yep.
Overall impressions. What do you think?
Um, Fun game, but didn't live up to what I wanted, I guess. Like the game was fun and good for what it was trying to be, but me personally, I just wish there was more to it.
I think I would agree with you.
Hmm.
It started out. Starting out, I really, really liked it.
Same.
And hold on, I'm trying to just put some gameplay up. Okay, there we go. I have a lot of feelings about it. It's so okay. If anybody hasn't played or doesn't know, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was made by Respawn, the guys who made Titanfall. Titanfall 2 was a crazy good, underrated game. If nobody's played that, highly recommends going back and playing that.
Especially the campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the main thing. And of course, EA has owned the Star Wars license for, I think, like what 2013 is when they got it. They have a 10-year hold on it, so everybody's been super disappointed because they just haven't really done a whole lot with it. They've had just some disasters with Battlefront, and just haven't really done much with it. And there's been all these Star Wars games that have been in development and have been canceled, and we finally got, a fully single player, story driven Star Wars game. Everybody was super excited about it. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a really good game. But there's just a lot of things that just don't make sense to me. And it just feel unnecessary. So this game is it takes from a lot of other games. It's kind of a little bit Metroidvania-esque. It takes a lot from Dark Souls. And to me, it takes a lot of things from other games, but it really doesn't do anything that great with any of them. Like the level design feels just out of place. Just, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe because since it's a Metroidvania, they kind of have to make, the level design in a way that you're going to be able to wrap back around and unlock shortcuts and all those kinds of things, which can be really cool. Like if it was done, or the way it was done in God of War, the newest God of War, I think that was fantastically done, and felt natural and organic. This just feels like a video game. It feels like they created it just to they created areas just to make it to where you could unlock shortcuts and open up the map a little bit more, and it just feels a bit unnecessary. The other thing that I don't like, and this is going to sound weird because I'm a huge Dark Souls fan, but it makes zero sense in Star Wars lore that after you meditate, all of the enemies would respawn. That makes zero sense to me. Like in Dark Souls, it makes sense from a lore perspective, and other Souls games, but this just doesn't make any sense that the enemies would respawn. Like, why is a stormtrooper just respawning? And I thought that maybe they would do something like have new stormtroopers come in, or like tougher enemies come in after you respawn, or something like that, and that would make a little bit more sense. Like you kill people, and then like there's other people that come back in, and
there's reinforcements.
Or even if it's like the same level of enemies, but like they just look a little different, or they talk a little different, but it is the exact same people. And that kind of annoys me and just doesn't make any sense. The actual combat itself, the lightsaber combat, I think is good but not great. It feels weird to me that I'm wielding a lightsaber and not chopping people in half.
I know what you mean.
and I get why they do it. I get that Disney doesn't want to, have that. But at the same time, like you're slicing animals in half. They let you do animals, but not people or not stormtroopers. That I don't know. That just seems
It
weird.
feels more like a laser baton or than a saber sometimes.
Yeah. It's just weird, and especially because like every now and then when you're fighting an enemy, you'll get like a finishing move or something. It'll kind of go like in slow motion, and he'll like slice across their midsection, and it very clearly should slice them right in half, but it just doesn't do anything, and that just feels weird and out of place.
I do think if someone makes like a dismemberment mod for this game, it will easily improve it. I think
I agree.
Sure.
The rest of the combat is decent, but again, I don't think it is as good as Dark Souls. It just doesn't feel quite as responsive to me. I'm not a huge fan of the dodging. It's kind of like you have if you tap dodge once, you just do like a quick dodge, and if you tap it twice, you do a roll. But to me, the quick dodge just doesn't really seem like quite enough, so I usually end up just double tapping to do a full roll. And then I know you kind of had a problem with this too. The skill tree felt pretty limited to me.
It really did, yeah.
And I was expecting it to be just a lot more, because when they show the skill tree, it looks like there's going to be the main section that you unlock, and then there's going to be like 3 additional sections after that.
It definitely looks like it's going to branch out.
And it really doesn't. And none of the skills were really that interesting to me. Other things
just felt kind of generic.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Everything was just kind of generic. Like everything was just kind of a safe bet, I feel like.
It was a very safe game in general, I think.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they just had very strict limitations on what they could do, and this is just the most creative freedom that they had was just to go with this. It's not a bad game at all. I enjoyed my time with it. It's too bad because it's like if they had just changed a few things, it could have been so amazing.
Yeah.
And then you and I have talked about we're not really a huge fan of Cal, just the way he looks.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds terrible, but I don't know. He just
I just wish there was a character customization, because there's so much potential to have cool looking Jedi type characters in this universe, and they just went for the most base generic kind of looking guy possible.
And really, I don't feel like
other than clothes.
Yeah, and I don't feel like there's any reason why they couldn't have done a character creator.
Yeah, because it's not like it's really specific to this one guy. Because even if it was your own character, they could have just given you kind of like a nickname,
right?
And it would have been pretty much the exact same.
Yeah,
and it would have felt much more personal and all that.
Right, I agree. Yeah, and then there's other things like, to me, the customizations are cool. Like, you can really customize your lightsaber and the looks, and you get like all these little switches and buttons and things, but it's completely pointless because you don't ever really see any of it. And I really had hoped that they would have integrated that into the skills, to where, like you find these little things for your lightsaber and it would have given you like +2 damage or something like that.
That's exactly what they should have done, I think.
Even if it was just a little tiny bit, just like it gives you just a little extra damage, or maybe a little extra ability or something like that.
Because that's an incentive to like explore and loot, because all of the loot in the game and these chests that are scattered about the place is just all cosmetics.
I say this...
no reason to do anything.
Exactly. I say this all the time. I hate useless collectibles. And that's one of the reasons why I love one of the many reasons why I love God of War. Every single thing you find, every single collectible, even like the collectibles that are literally just collectibles, you still get something for it. Like you get XP for finding those things. And you get hack silver and money and things like that. Each says so they should have used clone troopers instead. Yeah, then you could have cut them in half, right? Because they're not real people. Wasn't that? Clones. I think that was the justification. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it. The story was good, but not great. It had some interesting things in it. There was some stuff that was a little cliche, I thought.
Yeah.
Good evening, Nekio. How are you?
It felt very Disney at times. If you want to say that.
And I mean, it's always that problem that you're going to have, no matter how good your story is, if it's set in between episode 3 and episode 4, like, you know what's going to happen. You know that this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Overall, I don't know. What would you give this game out of 10?
I think I'd give it a 7.
I think I would give it maybe a 6, maybe a 7. I definitely had fun with it, and for me, when I rate a game out of 10, I think 10 best game ever made, 0 worst game ever made, 5 is like an average game. So to me, this was slightly above average.
Definitely. I think just to say my take on the combat side of things, seeing as it's the main thing in the game, the main issue I had, especially if you're comparing it to a Dark Souls game, it just wasn't as precise or on point as Dark Souls combat felt. Like, you'd press an input and sometimes it just wouldn't do that input, or like if you mess up and you dodge, or like if you dodge but you still get hit, you feel like that's the game's fault. Whereas in Dark Souls, if you get hit,
it's your fault.
Like, oh yeah, it's your fault. You forgot to dodge because the hitboxes are so precise. Well, most of the time anyway.
And it amazes me after playing more and more games that are trying to, emulate Dark Souls. It really just shows you, I guess, just how hard it is to create a game like Dark Souls, to where everything is so precise. I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be that hard, but it really just makes me appreciate Dark Souls and Bloodborne and those types of games just even that much more.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very similar to the issues that I had with The Witcher 3 combat. Like, it was so close to being amazing, but it just was not quite as precise as I wanted it to be.
Just missed them in a couple of ways.
So it's tough to do, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's Jedi Fallen Order. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You said you finished it really quick. I mean, relative. You said you finished it in like 15 hours, right?
I finished the game in about 15 hours. I'd heard it was at least 20 if you just mainline the story.
I don't know how you finished it so early. I feel like I didn't do a lot of side stuff. Or like really explored that much, and it took me like 26 hours, I think.
Yep, I beat it in 15 with like 86 overall like completion.
You're just that good, Squash.
Maybe. And I was on the second hardest difficulty, so.
Oh, that was the other thing for me.
The one before the hardest.
Yeah, there's 4 difficulties. I was playing on the second difficulty. So probably like normal difficulty. But then about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through, I put it down to easy, because that was kind of the whole thing that we're talking about, as far as like the combat was good but not great, and to me it was just not quite as enjoyable. I was just kind of getting a little tired of like just fighting the exact same enemies every time over and over. So yeah, I just put it on easy and just went through the story.
Yeah, I think in some ways they would have been better not having the option for difficulty and just making it like everyone's at the same level of difficulty.
I agree.
Because they definitely could have balanced it better, I think, that way.
There would have been so many people complaining about there not being difficulty options, though.
For sure. It would have got added in later on.
Yeah.
I think it just would have improved, I think, both of our experiences with it, if that was the case.
Nekio, I'm sorry that you're sick. Squash is sick, and I'm not feeling amazing either, so You're not alone.
Yeah, everyone's sick apparently. So, but yeah, I think what I was going to say is, I guess what I get why they put in the easy difficulty, because some people, I guess, want to play a Jedi and want to have that sense of power, and having it at a set difficulty where you're not doing tons of damage to certain enemies definitely takes away from that feeling. So, yeah, I get it in that respect.
I feel like The Force Unleashed did a really good job with that, making you feel like a Jedi, making you feel like, you were actually just destroying people and really could use the Force.
Yeah, I definitely preferred the Force powers in Force Unleashed.
Yeah. Well, that's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep. Pick it up on a sale if you can.
Yeah, or just pay $15 and play through the the campaign. Well. You can do that on PS4 as well now, since they have because they.
I know they have EA Access, but I didn't think.
Oh, did they not have that kind of deal?
Premiere on consoles, no.
Oh, well, I stand corrected. Well, yeah, pick it up on a sale then if you're on console, or buy it used, or buy it and then resell it or something like that, or rent it. You can rent it in some places. Anyway,
definitely the way to go.
Let's see. I'll run through. Let's see. I've been playing a few other games. I've been playing more Call of Duty. Still really, really enjoying the multiplayer on that. I've mainly just been playing. I've been playing a lot of the gunfight mode, where it's the 2v2. I really, really like that mode. They added in Gun Game, which is the. Did you not know they added that in?
Nope.
Yep, they added that in. That's where everyone starts out with a pistol, I think, and then you go through 12 weapons or something like that. Every time you kill an enemy, you unlock a new weapon, and you have to whoever kills people with all the weapons wins first. So I've been playing a little bit of that. I'm really bad because I'm terrible with pistols, and so anytime I get a pistol, I just get stuck on that. But they're still just, I don't know, they're really supporting that game well, and they keep adding in new modes. They added in a new realism mode. They added in a new map for the ground war, which I'm not playing much ground war at all. I want to like it, but I'm just so terrible at that. And I feel like I get into ground war. Ground war, for anybody that doesn't know, is kind of the Battlefield mode that's just a big map. It's not as big as the Battlefield maps, but it's pretty big. And it's like a 5 points on the map, and you have to work with your team. 64 players, 32 on each side, and you have to work with your team to capture the points. And I just feel like I spawn in and I just get shot, and I don't even know where I get shot from, and that happens constantly.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's harder to excel in ground war compared to team deathmatch or gun game or other modes.
So I usually just play just one of the multiplayer modes, team deathmatch or hardpoint, domination, or just some of those modes. But yeah, I'm still loving it. I really, really am enjoying that. I'm not great by any means, but
you're pretty good though.
I think if anything, I'm slightly below average. Usually I come midway in the pack. Every now and then I'll get on a lucky streak and do decent. But it's I guess what I'm saying is I do good enough to where it's enjoyable, because I used to be, and sometimes I'm still like this, I do so bad that it's just not even fun. Yeah. But I'm still enjoying that game. They also added in some more of the co-op stuff.
Ooh, okay.
There's a new mode, and I think there's a new map. That stuff is still... We should try and play sometime, because I've tried playing by myself, and it is just impossible. I think you really have to have 4 people that go in there And they either just don't balance it for single player, or you just have to have 4 people, because going in there alone is just insane. Like the number of enemies that come out at you are just crazy. But yeah, they added a new mode that you have to, it's like a timed thing. You have like 6 minutes to go in and capture 3 objectives, and there's enemies that are coming at you. So I feel like that would be pretty fun if you had more people. But yeah, they keep adding stuff into that, which I think is really cool.
Nice. I definitely need to play some gun games soon, because it's like my favorite game mode.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Let's see.
I was just gonna say, speaking of COD-like games, have you ever played Insurgency?
No, I saw you were playing that. I don't know if I have that game.
Well, I have the first one and Sandstorm. Sandstorm's the latest one, which is like on Unreal. But the first one is based on the Source engine, and it's kind of like COD mixed with Squad or Armor. So it's very tactical in some ways. Like there's a very easy to access team chat. It's just like push to talk, similar to Rainbow Six if you played that. And you can like coordinate to push at the same time. You can smoke streets to make sure snipers can't get you. It's kind of like the new Modern Warfare, except more tactical, and the time to kill is definitely like you can shoot someone in the head once with a pistol and they'll go down. It's very much Sandstorm and the first Insurgency are probably the best shooters I've played on PC in terms of multiplayer, fun wise anyway, because I enjoy the kind of fast time to kill and the tactical feeling behind it. But if you wanted like a more team oriented, realistic game that's kind of still on the same level as COD, then Insurgency is, I think, the game to go for.
Yeah, I've heard amazing things about it. Apparently, I own Insurgency. I don't have Sandstorm.
Yeah, Insurgency, it was like free forever for a while. So,
okay.
Kind of just free to pick up.
Gotcha. Yeah, I may have to check it out. There's, one of the things that I think I like most about Call of Duty is the weapons, the unlocking of all of the attachments and everything like that. Do they have anything like that?
In Sandstorm, because that's the latest one, they added in cosmetics, but they're only for your character. With the weapons, it's different to COD in that there's different classes you can choose to pick from, and each squad has a limited amount of like said classes. So like there's only like 3 fighters, 2 supports, a marksman, and maybe like an engineer, and then a squad leader per team. And then you can choose, you have a certain amount of points like per class. So like you could have 16 or maybe more towards 10 total points for that class. And then the better the gun is, the more points it takes up of your loadout. And then adding attachments to that gun takes up a smaller amount of points. Equipping grenades and better armor, or being able to carry more ammo, takes up points. And so it's kind of a bit inventory management like in that way. And you kind of do all that before you spawn in. But you can change it like on the fly in game, and you can change classes pretty easily. Yeah, so you don't unlock attachments. They're all available from the beginning, but it's going to take a long time for you to try all weapons with all attachments and stuff, because you're like constantly changing to see what works for the certain type.
Is it balanced well? Like if you go in there as a new player, are you going to just get destroyed because you don't have any unlocks or anything?
No, like you're on the same level gun-wise as everyone else. It's kind of all down to how you play, I think.
Gotcha.
Like there's no advantages that long-time players have other than experience.
Okay. Each says the tanks in Call of Duty look like they are RC cars, driving-wise. I don't know. To me, they feel kind of like Battlefield.
Yeah, I'd agree. They're a bit less heavy feeling than Battlefield, I think.
And I don't think there's any way to repair them that I've seen.
No, I don't think so, because you can't like choose to be a certain class with the blowtorch to repair it. So
yeah. Have you seen how they accelerate? Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. They do accelerate pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't feel very weighty. What in the world is this?
Oh,
Why am I
are
watching penguins?
I have no idea.
That was really
That is
weird.
odd.
Okay. Yeah, I may have to give Insurgency a try sometime.
To answer Sid's question, it's very much like CS because it's literally on the same engine. It's the first one, anyway, is built on the Source engine, but it's nowhere near as open as DayZ.
Yeah,
it's more like CS crossed with Siege or Armor or Squad or one of those games.
Can you play? Is there any single player aspects to it?
Yeah, you can fight against AI.
They have bots and things.
Yeah.
You can't unlock anything when you're playing against bots, though, can you?
I don't think so. I'm not sure, though. I haven't played much kind of solo.
I loved which Call of Duty was it? Ghost, I think it was. You could basically do like a separate multiplayer mode where you could unlock all of the multiplayer stuff. You basically like could play multiplayer, but just single player.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could only play with bots, and like you could unlock all the stuff, but you couldn't like transfer it over into multiplayer. So it was just like a separate campaign. But that was so fun. I loved doing that because, well, I'm not great, and it didn't stress me out like having to play with other people or anything.
Yeah.
Hi Zora. What's with the squash? Well, this is Squash.
It's me.
We're talking to Squash.
Yeah.
Each is saying they don't look like 50 tons or so, more like 50 kilograms. Yeah, I can understand that. Also, I have a background. What do you mean? This background? This is just my house. Let's see. Well, do you want to talk about Pokemon? I really want to hear about Pokemon.
Yeah, I can talk about Pokemon for a bit. I'm about, I'd say, 10 hours in.
Is this your first Pokemon?
I played Pokemon Go, obviously, on my phone.
Yeah, it's not a real Pokemon, though.
Yeah, I know. I played a bit of Let's Go on the Switch as well, but
it was
just
Pokemon
a demo,
either.
and that's not really real. Yeah, exactly. It's not real Pokemon.
I don't know. I'm probably going to make all kinds of Pokemon people mad because I don't know anything about Pokemon.
That's fun. But yeah, this is my first kind of mainline Pokemon. I've tried it on like a friend's DS way back in the day, maybe. But this is the first one I bought and have put proper time into. And I'm rather enjoying it. It was kind of slow to begin with because it was very much on rails and you didn't have much room to kind of explore. Whereas now where I'm at, I can kind of go into the wild areas and catch Pokemon, or I can kind of wander around the towns and spend all my money on clothes or just general items that are useful. But because I think they introduced a new generation of Pokemon with this game, I don't recognize like the majority of them. So coming across a Pokemon I actually recognize is pretty cool. Like I saw a Snorlax the other day, and I couldn't catch it because Snorlaxes are like insane. But it was cool to see something I actually recognized. And the way you progress in order to be able to catch high level Pokemon or better Pokemon is by completing the gyms in the game. And I think it's the same for all Pokemon, or at least the majority, in that you're kind of like an aspiring Pokemon champion. And in this game, seeing as this is the only one I've played, I'll say that I'll say that based on my experience in this, it's very much like you have to beat all of the gyms in the game, and then you go into a final fight, which I assume will be against the current reigning champion. And along the way, you're leveling up your Pokemon, you're catching new ones, you're kind of optimizing your Pokemon loadout, you could say, to be optimal against whatever Pokemon you're going up against. So, like if you have water Pokemon in your party, they'll be good against fire or whatever the Pokemons are weak to. It's best to have that type of Pokemon in your party, whatever, just general optimization, stuff like that. In regards to the story, it's very generic. It's just journey to becoming the champion, basically. There's a couple kind of bumps in the road, I guess. It's all text-based. There's no voice acting, which is kind of weird at times because it's like sometimes it looks like there was meant to be a voice in, and it's just a person. Like I saw one thing, this person was on stage singing, and there was no singing. It was just them dancing around a mic and people dancing in the crowd. It was very, very weird. But I assume that's just a Pokemon thing that happens in many Pokemons.
This is the largest media franchise in the world, and they can't get voice acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Each says every Pokemon story has always become the champ and save the world. So, this new one is very much the same as old ones in that respect, which I assume is why there's kind of not all this love behind it, is because people were expecting something new like they did with Zelda. But I honestly think with the hardware that they have in the Switch, they couldn't have done anywhere near as big of a kind of rehash of Pokemon as they did with Zelda. Not rehash, but like reimagining.
Yeah.
But I do think this is the first game that's like big world 3D, full like movement around. Well, not full movement. All the Pokemon games have like areas to walk around, but like 3D and camera movement and all that, you know. And it's also rather pretty. I wasn't expecting it to look that great.
I think it's really pretty too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd seen images of like stuff people had grabbed out of the game, of like bad textures or really bad pop-in, but I haven't run into any really noticeable graphical like restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of like
it's not the greatest looking game in the world, but
no.
I think it is. It has a certain charm to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think where it needs to be pretty it is. So like all the designs of the Pokemon are spot on. They all look great, and the designs of the characters are all good. It's kind of just general large environment. I haven't had any crashes like Each has. He's had one crash. And I don't think a Switch game has ever crashed on me, which is surprising, considering how intensive some games on the Switch are.
I don't know if I've ever had a crash on a Switch game, now that you mention it.
Yeah, I think I've crashed on like the PS4, Xbox, and obviously on the PC, but the Switch is like the one outlier, which is kind of impressive considering how good looking some of the games are on the Switch. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. If you've played Pokemon before, this is very much another Pokemon game. Just as enjoyable as I assume the other ones were. And with a new gen of Pokemon in the game, there's incentive to look around and look for new ones you haven't seen before and all that if you're a returning player. You're not really going to get anything new story-wise or mechanics-wise because the combat, I assume, is the same as the other Pokemon, and same in the way you catch Pokemon. But yeah.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it as a first-time player.
Yeah, it seems like to me this is probably a really good entry for a new player. I'm really tempted to pick it up. I've always wanted to get into Pokemon, but I never really wanted to play like on the 3DS, and I don't know, the graphics and the art style just kind of turned me off. But like you say, this one just looks so pretty and just looks fun.
I think fun is definitely a good word.
Yeah.
Like you said, it has that charm about it that just kind of like similar to Luigi's Mansion. It just makes it enjoyable.
Oh man, Luigi's Mansion is so good.
It is very good.
Yeah, I don't know if we have much else to say about it. I haven't played it, but I think I may pick it up and just try it out.
I do think you should give it a shot and try and make it like a few hours in if you can bear it, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about Pokemon? Each, are you enjoying it? I have a feeling you're enjoying it, right?
I'd be surprised if he isn't. I'm hoping to beat it pretty soon. I think there's 8 gyms in total in the game, and there's the champion fight, and I think I've done 4 gyms so far, so I'm a little over halfway. But They
Oh
could
wow!
easily they could chuck in something.
How many Pokemon have you caught?
I honestly don't know. My Switch is right there. I could check.
There's 400. Is that right?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
I know, like Dan, for example, he's already caught all 400.
Dan's Gaming. Yeah, I saw he had.
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
which is insane. But I know there's like a trading system in the game, so maybe that's how he got some of his.
Oh yeah.
But I haven't really experimented with that yet because I'm just trying to do it all myself, seeing as I have no idea how any of that works anyway.
You got Sword?
Yes, I got Sword because it was the coolest looking one.
That's always the thing that's so confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it shouldn't be confusing, but I just feel like it's confusing to new players. It's like, why are there two different versions, and which one am I supposed to get? And you know, it is a little bit of a turnoff to me.
There are definitely kind of the main reasons why someone might want to get a different one. Like, I think each game comes with its own certain legendaries.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the Pokemon on front of the box for Sword, I assume, is one of the legendaries exclusive to Sword, and then likewise for Shield. And then I think, in fact, I honestly don't know what other differences there are.
But I'm still a little confused on this. Can I get, let's say you have Sword and I get Shield,
Mm-hmm.
then can I get the exclusives that you have, and can you get the exclusive from me that I have?
Yeah, we just need to trade.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. I guess if I get it, I'll just get Shield.
Yeah, I guess so.
Each says the only thing I miss in Pokemon is a love story, but the main characters are like 10, so maybe it's better that way. You can only get 400 through trading. Okay. Each version has its cover, legendary, and a handful of Pokemon that only spawn in each game. Okay. Well, I don't really see to me, if I know someone that has the other version, then I don't really care about getting a specific version. I just want to catch them all, right?
I would like to catch them all, but I don't know whether I'm that committed. I want to get half, maybe.
Well, that's Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yep.
Each is enjoying that, and Squash is enjoying it too. It sounds like. I'm excited to try it out. Have you been playing anything else?
Not that, like, nothing of importance, or like of relevance that I could talk about to a certain extent. I suppose I started up and played like 5 minutes of Shenmue 1, and
I did too.
Same from Max Payne 2.
Oh yeah, what did you think about Shenmue?
Shenmue, I can see the charm behind it, but like the movement,
and
even
the
just in
audio,
the little bit I played,
the audio is the audio, so bad.
It is very bad, but that's kind of the charm behind it, I think, and I kind of like it in a way because of that. I don't know, it's weird.
I had heard people talk about how bad the audio was, but I didn't realize it was that bad. It literally sounds like they're talking in a tin can.
Yeah, like someone recorded it with a headset mic and just plopped it in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I did the same as you, probably kind of thinking the same thing, because it's free on Game Pass if you have Game Pass.
I got it through Humble Monthly, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I got it through there too. But yeah, it's free on Game Pass if anybody wants to try it out. And with Shenmue 3 coming out, I was kind of curious to try it out, but I don't think I could get through 1 and 2.
Nah.
If
I do try 3, I'll watch a recap for 1.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. It sounds like people are enjoying 3, which is good. I mean, it sounds like it's what the fans wanted, so that's good. Yeah,
because the critic reviews weren't all that great, but like the people who've been waiting for it for years seem happy because it's like more Shenmue, and that's what they wanted. They wanted that kind of double A in a way, kind of. And
from what I hear, they want to make more. So,
oh my god,
maybe they'll get
Shenmue
more
Shenmue. Last.
Nope.
You got to wait another 15 years for this next one. Okay.
Let's see. Well, I played. I've also really been in the mood to go back to like an old kind of Western RPG. So I started up Dragon Age 2. My history with the Dragon Age games has been a little weird, I guess. I should say I've also been playing The Witcher 1. The Witcher 1 came at just like a perfect time in my life and is one of my favorite games, probably top 3 games of all time for me personally. It just came at an interesting time in my life, I guess, when I was just kind of really getting into games and like really getting into like the storytelling in games. And the only RPG I had played before this was The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. And I loved Oblivion, but it was a very different storytelling as far as like The Witcher goes. And I picked up The Witcher from this, little studio at the time named CD Projekt Red, that just this little indie studio that nobody had ever heard of. Didn't know anything about it. Went in totally blind and was just blown away at the storytelling and just the maturity of a game like that. And I didn't realize that a game could do that. And I think Dragon Age came out either the same year. Dragon Age Origins came out the same year as The Witcher 1. And so I tried playing Dragon Age after that because I'd heard a lot of people saying that, it was kind of similar in the way it tells stories and like kind of a more mature, dark story. And it is, and I agree that it's a fantastic story in all of the Dragon Age games, but I just didn't love the gameplay. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I played The Witcher first, and I kind of got accustomed to that gameplay. The biggest problem I have with these games, and I think I'm not completely alone in this, but most people don't seem to have any issue with this, but it's just like an MMO where you have to hold down your right mouse button to move the camera, and that's just so annoying to me. And to me, it's very difficult when you're in combat because I want to be able to like just move my camera around, very easily, but I have to hold the mouse button down. And then when I hold the mouse button down, now I'm speaking about Dragon Age 2 here, it makes your cursor disappear. And then you have to click on an enemy to attack. And I can't see where my cursor is. And then when I let go, like the cursor comes up, but there's so many people on the screen and everything, I can't see where the cursor is. And it's very difficult to I don't know, get into that combat.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I really like the story though, and I hate it because I want to play it and I want to enjoy it so much, but it's just like this little tiny thing that's just really causing me not to enjoy the gameplay of it. So it's really tough.
Yeah, I remember playing, I don't know how many hours specifically, but I kind of got outside Novigrad, I think, in The Witcher 1. And that's kind of where I stopped because I think the age of the game kind of got to me and the jankiness in a way of the controls and all that. But yeah, the same goes for Dragon Age 2. I kind of, not necessarily age reason why I stopped playing Dragon Age 2. I just didn't enjoy that type of gameplay, I think.
Yeah.
Which is why I never really played much of the earlier Dragon Ages either.
Yeah, it's happened to me with all of them. I love the game, I love the story, but the gameplay itself just keeps me from enjoying it.
Dragon Age 2 is considered like the lesser of the Dragon Age games, right?
It is. Most people really dislike it. But that's why I kind of wanted to go in and play it, and I've heard that it's shorter and more kind of confined than the other Dragon Age games. And personally, I really like the story. I think the story is really good. I think the characters are really interesting. It's just that gameplay that's just keeping me from really enjoying it. Now, I have heard Vermont was telling me she's a huge Dragon Age 2 fan. She's a huge Dragon Age fan. She loves Dragon Age 2. And she was telling me that she played it on console, and a lot of people played it on console, and apparently like even most of the reviews were on console. And it plays much, much better from what I hear with a controller. And unfortunately, that was back when, PC games were like, it was kind of the dark era of PC games, like 2009, 2010, that time, when they just weren't really getting the kind of support that console games were getting. So you can't play this game with a controller. Like, it doesn't have the interface for it to where it'll just automatically switch. So, and they haven't ported this game to PS4 or Xbox One either. So I would literally have to play it on PS3 or Xbox 360 if I wanted to go back and play it on console. So that's too bad.
Yeah. What about The Witcher 1? Does that support controllers?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it would really work. Just because you kind of have to have a cursor in that game.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if it was like a PC exclusive game when it came out, or whether it was on consoles too.
Yeah, no, it's PC exclusive, and I'm 99% sure it still is. I don't think that they've ever ported that to consoles.
Okay.
I feel like they would have to change it quite a bit to work with a controller.
Mm-hmm.
I also played a tiny bit of Sniper Ghost Warrior 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was really interested in contracts, and I still am interested in contracts, but I figured just to get my kind of, scratch that itch a little bit, I would just go back and play a little bit of that. And I still like that game. I know a lot of people hate on those games, and I agree it's not the most amazing game in the world, but the problem is there's not really any really good sniper games that are just sniper games. Single player sniper games, like, Battlefield 1, you can snipe in that game, but I don't want to play multiplayer.
Yeah.
There's also the Sniper Elite series. Have you played any of those?
I've played 2, 3, and 4.
Have you played much of them?
I don't think I've beaten any of them like to completion, but I've played a pretty large chunk of each of them.
Okay. I played a tiny bit of 4, and I liked what I played, but I'm not really a huge fan of the setting. I prefer a more modern setting.
Also, the third person is a bit weird sometimes. I wish
it
was
is.
First person.
Yeah, that's what I like about the Sniper Ghost Warrior games. But yeah, I think I might play a little bit more of Ghost Warrior 3, and I think I'm probably going to pick up contracts. I mean, it's a pretty good deal as it is. It's only like $25, but I may just wait for it to go on sale even more, and I'm sure it'll go down really cheap in price and just pick it up then.
I definitely do want, if you do pick it up, I definitely want to hear about it, because I almost did the exact same as you did. I almost downloaded Ghost Warrior 3 in anticipation of contracts, because I was kind of in the mood for it. But I kind of never got round to it because the file size of Ghost Warrior 3 always scared me a bit. So.
Oh yeah, it's like 50 gigs or something.
Yeah, and I kind of needed the space at the time, so I didn't install it in the end and kind of forgot about it.
I just bought a new 4 terabyte hard drive.
Okay.
I had a hard drive that died on me, or is starting to die. Just a 2 terabyte drive that I just used for. Usually, what I'll do is I have, I guess I have about 1.5 terabytes in SSDs in my main computer. So I'll usually keep like the main games that I'm playing on there. But then whenever I finish those, I'll usually just offload them onto a slower spinning drive. So I just have that 4 terabyte drive that I'll just dump everything on now.
I have like in total like less than 500 gigs of SSD space.
Really?
Yeah, the rest is just hard drive. I don't even know if I have 2 terabytes in total across my whole PC.
Hard drives are getting crazy cheap right now.
Yeah, that's true. I just because most of my SSDs, or like I have 2 SSDs and 2 hard drives. My 2 hard drives take up about 800 or 900 gigs, and then my 2 SSDs, one is 120 gigs and one is 240. And if I were to get like a larger SSD, while it would be useful, I think I'd have to take the current one I have out of my PC because I don't have enough room for another one, or enough slots on the motherboard, which is kind of why I'm hesitant to, because
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'd be able to justify losing, I guess, that total amount of space that I would technically be buying.
You
get what I
could,
mean.
you could get you an M2 drive.
They're the NVMe ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of them, and they're like the go-to drives at the moment. I've heard
They're getting really cheap. Yeah, Zora says that he bought a 1 terabyte SSD for $130. Those M2 drives are getting down to like under $100 for a 500 gig now, and those things are crazy fast. I'm very tempted to get one.
If I had a job, maybe I would.
Yeah, I know it's tough. You can also, I don't know if you've tried this, but you can actually you can run most games pretty well off of an external drive without any trouble.
I do have an external drive, but
as long as
hard
it's
drive, so
as long as it's USB 3, I haven't noticed any trouble. I have even run GTA 5 off of an external drive.
Interesting.
It doesn't load quite as fast, but it's really not that much slower from what I've noticed.
Damn. Cool.
4 terabyte external SSD for 100. I doubt that's an SSD. Probably just a regular hard drive.
I was gonna say, if it was a 1 terabyte SSD, that might make sense.
Yeah.
But 4 terabytes is pretty hefty. Plus, I just spent 100 on a new keyboard, so.
Oh yeah,
in the market for
I'm excited to hear about that. You got a new mechanical Corsair keyboard, right?
It will be my first mechanical keyboard. I kind of wanted one for a while, and I figured I'd go with Corsair because I've always been good with Corsair. I have a Corsair Harpoon mouse and the HS70 wireless headset, and I ordered a K95 Platinum RGB. It's a very long and unnecessary name, I think. But
wait, is that the keyboard?
Yeah, the Corsair K95 is basically what I got, except I got the Platinum version because it was. I think I prefer it over the original K95. But I kind of wanted key switches that were tactile and gave you that feeling, but weren't as like noisy. Because I don't really like noisy keyboards, especially when I'm on mic a lot.
Yeah.
So the MX Browns kind of seemed like the best one to go for, and thankfully the MX Browns were available with this deal I found, where I could get this keyboard that's normally £185 for about 105 instead. So
nice.
I've been meaning to get a new keyboard for a while, so I figured I'd snag it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had a mechanical keyboard. I just have never really felt like I need one. I know everybody swears by them, but I really, really like the keyboard that I have. It's the Logitech G510S, and it has the LCD on it, which shows like it has little widgets that you can display, like the time. You can display like your FPS. You can display, some games will have like game specific widgets that will display your health or how much ammo you have or things like that.
Yeah, that is really cool.
So I really, really like these keyboards. And if they made one that was a mechanical, I may look at getting one, but I don't think that they make one that's mechanical.
I'll have a look around, see if I can help you with that.
Zora, which headphones have you tried? I really, really like these HyperCloud X, I think they are.
X. I almost bought those.
They are the most comfortable headphones I've ever found, and they're very light, but they're extremely durable. I've had these for over a year now, and they've held up extremely well. They sound really good. They work really good. And I don't ever feel like I get too hot or sweaty or anything like that.
Yeah, I used to have the Steel Series Arctis 5s, which kind of have that like skier's headband.
Yeah.
That protects you, and those were really comfortable. And then I got the HS70s because I wanted a wireless headset because I hated the wire on my old Steel series. And
I think
I
that may be
don't
what
think
I
I
have
can ever
here.
go back to a wired headset.
Do they look like this?
They look exactly like that, except they're white.
Okay. It could just be me. I these are okay to me, and I do love the wireless, but they're just nowhere near as comfortable as these that I'm wearing.
Fair enough.
Have you ever tried these? Have you ever put these on?
I haven't, no. I was looking at them. I almost bought a pair for a long while, and then I kind of decided against wired and went for the HS70s in the end.
Yeah, I definitely do like wireless, but I'm not kidding. Like, I tried, it must have been 10 different headsets, and but when I put these on, I was like, these feel so good compared to every other ones that I tried. Every other headset I've tried, like after a couple of hours, they just start to hurt a little bit, and they hurt my ears, and I don't know. I feel like I have a weird head too. I feel like I have to put them as low as they'll go, and these are one of the few headsets that will actually fit, because most of them are all too big for me, which I don't know why. I don't feel like I have that small of a head. I think I have like a weird ear position or something.
That may be it. That's a great quote.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I like talking about peripherals and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's jump into a little bit about the news. Talk about some of that stuff. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. Not a whole lot of time. We'll just kind of run through some of the stuff. Stadia launched, Google Stadia launched, and to no one's surprise, it doesn't work that great. Nope. I don't know. I wasn't really expecting it to be that amazing. Doesn't sound like it's that amazing. It just sounds like a mess, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really know what I was expecting. Like I said, I don't think I was really expecting that much. For anybody that doesn't know, Google Stadia is a streaming service that Google has been announced, I guess, about 8 months ago, earlier this year, that they... well, let me pull up the website for it. But basically, it's a game streaming service. Do they even have a website?
They must do.
Do they?
Hold on, I need to investigate this.
Everything that I find is just the store.
Maybe they do just have a store. Stadia.dev is the website I found.
I found that, but that's for like development.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Well, this is the store. I guess they show a little bit here. Essentially, it's a game streaming service. Right now, the only way that you can get into it is by paying $130 to get the controller, and you get a Chromecast, and then you still have to buy the games. And they only have a very few selection of games here. They have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Attack on Titan 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Borderlands 3. Okay, well, they have added some stuff. Oh, well, some of these haven't launched.
Yeah,
I mean, Cyberpunk 2077, Darksiders Genesis, Destiny 2, Destroy All Humans, Doom Eternal. I don't think Doom is available yet, though, is it?
I don't think so.
A lot of these are not available.
Lineup.
A very limited lineup. I mean, this is all of the games that they have available. And again, you have to buy all of these games
separately. Yeah. For the full price.
And from what I've heard, it just doesn't work that great. I mean, it works about like you would expect it to work. There's input lag. The quality does not look that good. And that was one of the big things that they made it sound like it was going to be, was that, you know, it was going to be running on like a supercomputer, and you were going to get like ultra high graphics. You the equivalent of like an ultra high PC or something like that. But everything that I'm hearing and seeing is just like medium graphics, that they're giving you. And it just seems like a mess. It just seems like they shouldn't have launched this thing yet. It doesn't seem like it's ready.
Yeah.
There will eventually be a free version of Stadia that you can get, but you still have to buy the games, but it'll just be like a streaming service where you can buy a game and play it. But again, I don't want to buy a game on a platform like this that I can't import my save from. It's not going to be cross-play or anything like that, or cross-save compatible. I don't know. It just seems like a mess.
I saw one funny statistic the other day. There was, like, the day after Stadia launched, a grand total of 44 people playing Crucible in Destiny 2 on the Stadia.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty depressing.
Yeah.
And they definitely need to implement crossplay if possible, because, like, they're not going to get anywhere, I don't think, with multiplayer games if they don't have crossplay with Stadia.
Well, Squash, what if I told you about something exciting?
Like?
There's a new Half-Life game coming out.
Really?
Half-Life Alyx was announced.
Yes.
Return to Half-Life.
Thank God for that.
So, are you super excited to download this and sit down at your computer and play with your mouse and keyboard? And
how? It's a VR game, buddy.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a VR, but I can still play like regular, right? Like a regular Half-Life game.
Yeah, it's I don't think you could do that, mate. I think it's just strictly VR.
It's VR exclusive?
I think so.
Well, I can play on my PSVR, right? Because I love that. It's super comfortable. I can sit back.
I don't think so. No, I think it's exclusive to Steam and the VR platforms on PC.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I get to play as Gordon, right? Because I love Gordon.
Have you heard the name of the game?
Yeah, it's Half-Life Alyx, but I'm sure Gordon will be in it, right?
I mean, Gordon's alive, but maybe not playable.
Our modest fellowship expands.
All right, so let's talk about this.
Okay.
Hi, Vermalt. Vermalt, thank you so much for 9 months now. How are you doing? Oh, you've been here for quite a while. Did you hear us talking about Dragon Age? We needed you there. With all that being said, I'm super excited for this. I do have a. I mean, first of all, it's crazy to me that we have a Half-Life game.
Yep.
I didn't ever think that this was going to happen.
I kind of had a gut feeling it'd happen eventually, but not this soon, I guess.
There's so many strange things about this and so many interesting things about this. So for anybody that doesn't know, let's take a little trip down memory lane. There used to be a game called Half-Life that came out in 1998 that was pretty revolutionary at the time. And then 6 years later, Half-Life 2 comes out, which was crazy revolutionary. It really revolutionized like physics in video games and the things that they could do with that. And their Source engine was an amazing engine that went on to develop all kinds of games from Team Fortress to Team Fortress 2 and CSGO and I guess Dota as well. Left 4 Dead, Portal, all these amazing games came out from Valve. And then Valve, after Half-Life 2, they started talking about how they were going to do these episodic games, and they were so excited about it because they were going to be able to put them out much quicker than normal games. And they had Episode 1, which Half-Life 2, Episode 1, was pretty good. It was kind of short. But then they came out with the most incredible value in gaming history, which was Half-Life 2, the Orange Box, which gave you Half-Life 2, Episode 2, Team Fortress 2, Portal 2, and I think even Left 4 Dead 2, all in this one box, and it ended with this huge cliffhanger, and everybody was super excited for episode 3, and they kept talking about it for a little while and said, yeah, we're working on it, it's going to be out soon. And then they slowly stopped talking about it and just said, yeah, we're working on it. And then they stopped talking about that, and they just didn't say anything. And for a long time, we didn't think that there was ever going to be another Half-Life game. And all of a sudden, they come out and they announce that they have a new Half-Life game in development that is VR only.
Yep.
It's exclusive to Steam VR. You can use any headset as long as it's compatible with Steam, but it's not just exclusive to the Valve Index. But I don't know. This is also, we should say, this is also kind of a prequel, or like it's set in between Half-Life 1 and 2, where you play as Alex Vance. I'm assuming that we're going to steal the gravity gun because they're talking about a weapon that's extremely important. So I'm assuming that that's what we're going to steal. This is a full length. They said 12 to 14 or 12 to 15 hours, I think.
Yeah. Jeff Keighley, who's already fully played in it, he said it took him about 15 hours.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? I have so many different feelings.
Literally, based on the one trailer we've seen, I want to play it as soon as possible. Like, I'll buy it day one. If not, if I can't get it before, I just want more Half-Life, regardless of whether it's on my monitor and I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, or I'm flailing about in my room with my headset on, looking like a dummy.
So you've played the other Half-Life games?
I've played Half-Life 2 to completion and episode 1 and 2, and I played a bit of Black Mesa, which is like the fan-made remake of Half-Life 1.
Yeah.
But I've never beaten Half-Life 1.
Okay. That's the same for me. I've actually never beaten Half-Life 1 either. Loved Half-Life 2, though, in the episodes.
Same.
I just have so many different feelings on this. I'm extremely excited. I mean, I'm a huge Half-Life fan, and I was a massive Half-Life fan when these games were coming out. And I'm kind of just shocked that I'm going to be playing a new Half-Life game next year. It's a little strange that it's going to be VR only. I do have an HTC Vive, so I'm glad and feel fortunate that I have that I'm going to be able to play. I just feel so bad that so many people are not going to be able to play this game.
Yeah.
I guess what does give me a little bit of hope is, it's all this is just crazy to me. Valve is talking about Half-Life again, and they're saying that they have multiple Half-Life projects in development. So maybe there's a Half-Life 3 that they're actually working on.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a possibility that this is a game that's coming out to give people their Half-Life fix, as long as you have a VR headset, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then in a year or two from now, they'll announce the next mainline Half-Life game that's a sequel to Half-Life 2, and everyone will freak out because it'll be Half-Life 3.
But what about Episode 3? I don't want Half-Life 3. I want Half-Life 2 Episode 3.
I think it's been too long for them to just...
I know, but they have to, they have to address the ending of Episode 2, because that's a huge spoiler.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Half-Life 3 will begin from there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what they'll do. They'll just... Yeah. It will be Episode 3, but it will just be like a full-length game. Well, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that Valve is making games again. I'm happy. I'm excited. I hope that this does well. I hope that they don't use this, because that this is not going to sell like as good as an actual 2D Half-Life game, or an actual.
best-selling VR game ever.
Yeah, but it's, there's like 1% of people that are on Steam have a VR capable headset. Or maybe it's not that small. It's a very small percentage. But
I do think, in regards to Valve making the choice to go exclusive to VR, I personally think is rather fitting to how they like to do things, because they always aim to innovate in their games and bring new, unique experiences to.
It's an expensive, unique experience, though.
Well, yeah, that's true. But I guess this isn't like the only thing that you'd get if you bought a VR headset. This is kind of like this. Like they said, Valve said this is their flagship VR title.
Mm-hmm.
They also said a Portal, or there's very kind of strong rumors that a Portal VR game is in the works as well. And if you buy a Index, you get Half-Life Alyx for free. Not that kind of that is any better, because it's like $1,000 for the Index, and Half-Life Alyx is like $50, I think.
It's not crazy expensive if you already have a Vive.
Yeah,
because you don't have to buy the base stations, but it's still pretty expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking like $600-700.
Yeah,
and that's if you have a Vive already.
If you don't have a VR headset currently, and you're looking for a new one, the Rift S is probably the best one you can get for like $400. I think is the price. Maybe it's $450 or $500, but it's like almost even on par with the Index, except for the finger tracking. Finger tracking is still there; it's just not as precise as in the Index. But the Rift S is easily kind of the best, relatively cheap VR headset on the market.
Mm-hmm.
It's got full tracking. You don't need any base stations. It's all done through cameras on the headset. Half-Life Alyx will be playable with the Rift S. The controllers on the Rift S are great and everything. So if you need a reason to pick up a Rift S or a VR headset in general, I think Half-Life Alyx is a good reason to, on top of like Beat Saber and the millions of other great VR games out there.
Zora, are you saying spell the Rift S? It's just RIFT space S, right?
Yeah.
I just want to catch up on chat here. Ramal came in. You're doing tired, but besides that, all right. We did talk about Dragon Age. We were talking about your favorite Dragon Age 2. Zora says that doesn't count as a Half-Life game. I think it absolutely counts as a Half-Life game.
I think so too, but there'll be a lot of people who don't think so. I know Zora's probably joking in general, but there's going to be people out there who are like heavily against this game. I think.
Zora, I think you're a big fan of Half-Life, right? Each is asking what a reasonable price for a 4 terabyte external hard drive is. Are you talking about an SSD or just a regular 4 terabyte external drive? You should be able to get a 4 terabyte external traditional drive for around $100. Black Friday sales, you may even be able to get it a little bit cheaper. I just bought a 4 terabyte internal drive for $70. They're crazy cheap. Squash was -5 in 1998. Thanks for making us all feel crazy old.
I apologize.
Ramal says she doesn't think she can make it through a whole VR game, struggle with motion sickness. Yeah, I do feel like having a Vive or something where you can actually move around is a little bit different compared to just sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
2D Half-Life. Zora says there's slightly Apple-like tendency where they like to direct the gaming community. This is the future. Yeah, kind of. Half-Life came out when you were 12, so it had a big impact on you. Yeah. Each has the regular one. Saw one for $80 on Amazon. Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, that's a good deal. But yeah, that would definitely not be an SSD. The coolest VR game I ever saw was at uni, where the game designers made a game where you make kebabs. It was great to watch. That's interesting. That sounds like what's the work simulator?
Job simulator.
Job simulator. Yeah.
I will say, while we're on the topic of VR, there's a new game coming out the 10th of December, I think, which I think they were making it as kind of like a spiritual reimagining of Half-Life, but in VR.
Interesting.
The physics and everything look amazing in the game. It has a proper story. There's full finger tracking and everything. The game's called Boneworks, if anyone wants to check it out. It looks
I remember seeing that. It looks a little janky to me. I mean,
I wouldn't say so based on the trailers I've seen like recently.
Well, I don't know if I've seen any trailers. I just saw someone, like I saw some actual, not gameplay, but like there was a person in the dev studio and they were like showing it off.
Videos.
And I mean, it's impressive, don't get me wrong, but it just, and it's one of those things, again, I don't feel like it's going to feel janky when you're playing it, but it just looks janky. VR a lot of times looks janky when you're showing it on a 2D screen.
Yeah, there are ways to make it look better, especially in games like Beat Saber, but it is tough, especially when streaming it.
Vermalt is asking if either of us have ever finished the whole game in VR.
I have.
I don't think I have.
That's honestly, I've only beaten one game, I guess, in VR, which was the Star Wars Vader Immortal thing. But that's like easily one of the best VR games I've played.
Did you not beat the what's the game on PS4? It's like the
Astrobot?
heist game. No, not Astrobot.
Blood and Truth. Yeah.
Blood and Truth.
Wait, did I beat that?
I still really want to play that.
I didn't beat that.
That one's not super long, I don't think. I think it's like 6 or 7 hours.
It's not. Yeah.
But yeah,
my brother beat it in one sitting, so
I really want to play that. He beat it in one setting?
Yeah, in one sitting. He was insanely excited for that game though, so
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Fallout 4 in VR. I probably played 20 hours of that in VR. And
I bought it and I have 6 minutes playtime.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a bit janky, but once you get it set up, it's really, really fun to me. Because I don't know, that Fallout 4 to me is one of the games, and again, I haven't played like Blood and Truth, so maybe they do some of this, but it really, really felt like you were totally in that environment. And it was just so cool how you can like literally like duck down and hide behind corners and like peek out and shoot with your weapon, and like you can actually bring the weapon up to your face and look through the scope in VR.
Yep.
That is so cool. Like that. You can do that. Okay. I've got to play Blood and Truth.
There are games on PC VR as well. There's a game called Pavlov VR, which is basically like CSGO VR. And that has pretty good kind of gun mechanics and being able to peek out from behind cover, and you definitely feel like you're in there.
Okay.
Gorn,
cool.
A game called Gorn is pretty similar.
I didn't really love Gorn. That's like the arena fighting game, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah. The only reason I haven't played much of it is because when I have played it, I almost broke my hand on my masterpiece. So, yeah.
I've got to get my Vive set up again. I haven't even set it up in my new house, and I've been here for a year.
That's fair enough. I definitely want to get back into VR. There's been a lot of games come out in the end of this year that I've had to save money for, and like I haven't had much time or money for VR games, seeing as some of them are pretty expensive. So
yeah,
hopefully I'll get back into it in the new year, especially with Half-Life and Boneworks.
Right. Hey, Miss GBT, how are you? Thank you so much for the bits. It has been a long time. Let's see. Anything else about VR? Half-Life? I'm excited.
I don't think so. Yeah, I'm very excited as well. Plus, it comes out pretty soon. I think in 4 months, because it's March 2020. So
wait, did I? Oh, I didn't forget how to spell your name. I just mistyped it. I'm sorry. I put an extra T in there. Yeah, that's crazy that it comes out so soon, right?
That gives me hope for a sooner Half-Life 3 than we expect.
And I mean, it sounds like it's pretty much done. I mean, if Jeff Keighley played through the entire thing, and it sounds like other people have played through it, they're probably just polishing it at this point.
Yeah.
How have you been, Miss GPT? Let's see. So you wrote down Cyberpunk 2077 multiplayer monetization. Yes. There's been kind of a lot of stuff that I don't think we still fully know about this because this was translated. But basically, I think they were on a call with like investors or something like that. And they were talking about that they were looking into... well, this is what I'm almost even hesitant to even say this, but like some translations have said that they were talking about microtransactions. Others were saying that they were just like looking to figure out how to monetize it. I don't think there's really too much to worry about this or really too much to look into this. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I have a couple direct quotes if you want.
Go for it.
They talked about, as far as the monetization on the multiplayer for Cyberpunk is concerned, we believe right now it's definitely too early to share any details on that, he told investors. The project is in a relatively early stage. We keep experimenting. This is our first multiplayer game, and we check different options and possibilities. And it's definitely not the time to point you in a certain specific direction on that. Monetization is pretty broad. CD Projekt Red previously swore off microtransactions, but that doesn't necessarily close the door on things like multiplayer DLC and other methods of parting players from their cash. So I think the main thing is at the moment, people are being skeptical because CD Projekt Red previously talked about how there'd be no microtransactions, and now they're talking about monetization in their multiplayer mode for the game or separate multiplayer spin-off type thing. So I think that's the main kind of news, is that people are worried that this might go down the wrong road. But I think personally, CD Projekt Red are smart enough not to push it too far. Or they'll do it in a fair way.
I think that they will too. You know, there was, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a big controversy when The Witcher came out, Witcher 3 came out, because they were selling a season pass for it. And everybody was like, oh, I can't believe they're selling a season pass. And they said that they would never sell DLC and things like that. And, you know, I think everyone would agree at this point that that season pass is well worth what you get, considering that you basically get like an extra game that's like 30 hours of gameplay, at least 30 hours of gameplay, for, you know, whatever they were charging for it. I have quite a bit of trust in them. I think that they're gonna do what's right. I don't think there's really anything too much to look into about this.
I honestly hope they add in a season pass type thing, because if they do the same kind of level of quality in the DLC for Cyberpunk as they did The Witcher 3, like, it could easily be a top 5, if not favorite game of all time, if they add in all that DLC and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I don't think we can really make too many. You can't really say too much about it. Don't want to make
assumptions.
Exactly. Yeah. Just real quickly, we'll talk about EXO 2019 happened, I guess, about 2 weeks ago. They announced a bunch of games. Honestly, I don't remember a single thing that they announced. Nothing was super that exciting to me. The biggest takeaway that I got is there's a ton of games coming to Game Pass, and the Master Chief Collection is finally coming out on PC. The first game in the first game, Halo Reach, is coming out December 3rd, I think it is.
Yeah, just over a week from now, which is exciting.
Miss GBT, it's not a gourd, it's a Squash, because Squash is here with me and he's talking, and this is what Squash looks like.
That is an exact direct picture from my phone. Of me.
That's a selfie of Squash. Oh, you've been playing Tomb Raider. Nice. Are you playing the 2013 reboot of Tomb Raider? That's a really good game.
It is.
That whole trilogy is good. Let's see. Maybe okay. We had talked about going through the Game Awards. I think since we're getting pretty close to the end of our time, maybe we just look at like a couple of categories this week, and then maybe next week we do like some more categories.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Or let's end on that. Why don't you tell me? I saw that you watched The Terminator. I want to hear about that.
Yeah.
I can't believe you haven't seen The Terminator.
It was a long time coming. A few months ago, my dad kind of sat me down and tried to get me to watch it. But about 5 or 10 minutes in, I just told him to switch it off because I couldn't handle the specials. And then a couple days ago,
you felt like it was just too
it was just
old.
too dated.
Yeah.
But then a couple nights ago, I was kind of in the silly movie mood. So we chucked The Terminator on and sat through all of it, and it was actually pretty good.
The first Terminator, I don't think holds up very well. I mean, I still love the first Terminator, but have you seen Terminator 2?
I haven't. That'll be one I watch soon.
Oh man, I'm excited for you to see that because I think Terminator 2 is so much better, and I think it still holds up pretty well.
Yeah, I've seen the only other Terminator I've seen is Genesis, which is like considered to be the worst one. But I went to see it with a mate in the theater, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But then, like watching the Terminator, because from what I gather, the story is pretty similar every time.
Yeah,
I kind of just knew what was going to happen and how everything was going to pan out. But it was still a fun watch, I think.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is easily the best in the series.
Okay. Well, I will have watched it by the next time we come to speak. So,
this is really random, but have you died in Death Stranding yet?
Other than the time that like it's
like the scripted
you have
death.
to die.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
It's actually pretty interesting what happens. I died just to kind of see what happens. And it literally creates like a crater where you die, like a huge crater. And the reason I'm Terminator made me think of it was because like in Terminator Genesis, you know how like the bubble or whatever that they go back in, or the time machine bubble or whatever, and like it like cuts out whatever they go back in time to in like a perfect little circle area. It kind of does that with Death Stranding. Like whatever you're next to, it literally cuts out like a perfect little sphere of a crater where you are. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I knew because I figured like your body wouldn't be incinerated or anything like that, so it would cause an a void out, I think is what they call it. But no, because I haven't died, I've never experienced that. But I might have to just
just die for science.
Pass away for science. Yeah.
You also watched Watchmen?
Yeah, I've been watching Watchmen, which I think is an HBO show in America, but we have it on a channel over here in the UK. And I've been meaning to watch it for a while. My mate recommended it to me a few weeks ago. And I finally sat down last night and watched the first episode, and then this morning watched the next 3. And I have no previous knowledge of the Watchmen series.
I don't either.
But it's pretty interesting so far. It would definitely help to have known a bit about the universe before going into the show. Because like I don't know the names of some of the superheroes, because it's basically a superhero show, but much more dark and gritty, and just not as like PG-12 as a Marvel superhero movie would be. And it's an HBO show, so you know you can kind of gather from that it's going to be pretty grim.
Yeah,
but the story is interesting so far. I've got 2 more episodes to catch up on, and then I can kind of watch the next episode every Sunday or so, or whenever it airs.
Yeah, so I'm kind of confused because each is saying that he likes to watch the movie. I thought that there was only a movie, but there's a show also?
Well, there's the original set of comics, because it's all based on comic books. There's an original set of comic books, and then they wrote like prequel books to those, and then the movie came out along with a game. And then this show is set after the original comic books and after the movie. So
Okay.
kind of like having that prior knowledge would help, but they're also tailoring it towards the people who's like, this is their first time with Watchmen. So it's definitely nice that they catered that way as well as towards the hardcore fans as well.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen the movie though. I might have to go back and watch that because I've heard it's pretty good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. How much time do you have left?
About 25 minutes.
Okay. Well, why don't we look at some of the Game Award nominations?
Mhm.
We'll just kind of run through some of them, and we'll talk about some of them. So I guess we'll start with Game of the Year.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should do this backwards. Would that be
I was going to
best?
say, do you want to do it backwards instead?
Should we start at the bottom?
Build up to the Game of the Year?
Let's go through some of these kind of quickly because, like, best VR AR game. I don't know. I haven't played any of these. Well, I played Beat Saber and No Man's Sky, but we have Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth. I really want to play Blood and Truth. Beat Saber is a lot of fun. I don't know if I would put it like best VR game though. No Man's
it's been out for
Sky,
a
I
while.
kind of would like to check out in VR. And in Trover Saves the Universe, haven't played that at all.
The only games here, well, not the only games, I suppose, because I played 3 of them. I played Blood and Truth, Beat Saber, and Trover. I haven't beaten Blood and Truth or Trover, and Beat Saber you can't beat. But my vote, despite not having played it, would be for Asgard's Wrath, I think.
Really?
Just based purely on what I've seen, what people have said about it, and kind of like the scale of it, I think, is pretty impressive.
Interesting. I have never even heard of it.
It is like a full 30-hour long RPG.
Oh, wow.
With loot and gear that you can collect that affects your stats. There's full like NPC dialogue. There's really cool, unique mechanics. It's set in kind of a Norse universe, so it's very God of War-ish. You can like throw an axe and pull it back, which is pretty God of War-like as well, which is neat.
Don't you tempt me with God of War talk.
It is very God of War-like, except not story-wise, only kind of like in regards to the combat. But it's literally built from the ground up for VR. So any collectibles you might find, you'd literally have to duck down and look under a cart for, or behind a wall. Maybe there's like a crack that you have to look behind and grab a collectible. And yeah, I've heard pretty great things about it. I want to try it out at some point. Probably once I get back into the swing of things with the VR, I'll pick it up. But that would probably be what my vote goes to.
Dang, I really want to try it out now. When did it come out? It came. Well, I guess it came out this year.
It came out really recently. Yeah, it came out in October.
Wait, so it's an Oculus exclusive?
Yep, it's on the Oculus Store.
So can I play it with my Vive? There's a way. Yeah. This is the other problem with VR. There's like all these exclusives, and you have to like do all this janky stuff to get around playing it. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to check that out.
I can tell you a way that's like easy enough to play Oculus games on.
I remember when it's only $40 too. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I first set up my Vive, there was like this weird thing that I installed that like got the Oculus Store in the Steam VR store. So
the
yeah,
program's called Revive.
Yeah, that's what I used. Yeah.
All
right, let's go into strategy game. I think we have some good games here actually. Age of Wonders, Planetfall. I played a tiny bit of that. Have you played any of that?
No.
You're not really a big strategy guy.
I'm not, but I think I know what my vote would go to.
Anno 1800, I played a lot of that, and I'm still playing that, and I love that game. Fire Emblem Three Houses, I played a lot of that. I haven't finished it. I started over because I wanted to play on the harder difficulty. Really, really like it though. It's basically Harry Potter. Yeah. Total War Three Kingdoms, haven't played any of that. I feel like I would probably feel the same about all the other Total. I would feel like I feel about all the other Total War games. I enjoy them for a little bit, but I'm not crazy about them. Tropico 6, kind of the same thing. I've played other ones, but they all kind of seem like about the same. Actually, I take that back. I played a little bit of Tropico 6 because I think that's available on Origin Access, the premiere. Have you played... You haven't played Fire Emblem, right?
No, but that would be what my vote goes to based on what I've seen.
Vermont gets mad at me every time I compare Fire Emblem to Harry Potter. It's basically like Harry Potter, though, Verms.
I mean, it basically is. Sorry, Vermont.
Have you played any Total War or Tropico?
Nah, Total War isn't my thing. I've tried Tropico before, but not 6 in particular.
Yeah, they're fun. They're not just super in depth to me. Although Tropico 6 was pretty good. I would like to play more. Mm-hmm. And then we have Wargroove.
I have played a bit of that. I enjoyed it, but again, like strategy games aren't really my thing.
I think for me, it would come down to either Fire Emblem or Anno.
Mm-hmm.
Anno is really, really good. I think Fire Emblem's probably going to win, though.
Yeah, I think just because it's like one of the only things it's nominated for, it kind of is going to get the majority vote.
Yeah. See, Vermont, Squash is British. He gets like 2 votes when it comes to Harry Potter stuff.
True. And my name's Daniel, and Daniel Radcliffe plays Harry Potter.
There you go.
Is that like another vote? There you go.
Sports racing game, Crash Team Racing, Dirt Rally 2, Football Pro Evolution Soccer 2020, F1 2019, FIFA 20. I don't care about any of these.
Neither do I. I just vote Crash because it seems like the most fun.
The F1 games are actually pretty good. I played a little bit of 2018, and I hear that 2019 is basically just like it.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good. Actually, I've heard 2019 is really good. I've heard it has a really interesting story mode to it, or campaign mode to it. Let's see. Dirt Rally. I played a lot of the Dirt games. Those are pretty good too. But yeah, Squash and I are not really big sports or racing game fans. Best score and music. Cadence of Hyrule. I haven't played any of that.
I have. It's pretty good, but it's just Zelda music, but like 8-bit.
Yeah. Death Stranding, I think, has good music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fantastic, and nothing's original. I don't think, is it?
Well, all the songs made for it were created.
Oh, okay. Well, I take that back.
Production of Death Stranding. So
there you go. Devil May Cry 5. I know a lot of people like that music. I can't remember a single like song from Devil May Cry.
I know
like
the
a lot
music
of
fits the game.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of heavy metal.
Yeah.
These two are definitely not the same thing. Or are you talking about Fire Emblem and Harry Potter? I really like Fairy Emblem, Fire Emblem, and I don't like Harry Potter, so it can't be the same. Okay, fair enough. Kingdom Hearts 3? I don't remember any of the music in Kingdom Hearts 3.
It's just very Disney music, I think. So
Sayonara Wild Hearts, I've heard does have really good music. That's the Apple
TV,
what do they call it?
Apple Plus
Games?
or Apple Arcade.
Apple Arcade, that's what it is. Yeah. I do think I think you can actually get that on Steam. I could be wrong. Or maybe it's coming to Steam or Epic or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what I would vote for. I don't think I really have much opinion on much of these. I haven't really finished any of them.
I just voted for Death Stranding because I think the music plays at the right times when it can be played, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's mainly because I didn't remember much of Devil May Cry.
Right. So. Best role-playing game? I don't know about this. Disco Elysium, you and I both really want to try that. You haven't tried that yet, have you?
I haven't. I'm waiting on like an ultra-wide fix because I don't want to play with black bars.
Oh, poor Vermont.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14. I mean, that's an MMO. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't count that.
Kingdom Hearts 3? Is that an RPG? Really?
I mean, there's progression, but it's not a role-playing game.
And then Monster Hunter World. I mean, Monster Hunter World is great, but I don't think that that's an RPG either. Although it won Best RPG, was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
That was bizarre to me.
Especially against some of the other games that it was up against.
I think just even the little tiny bit that I've played so far, Outer Worlds would take it for me. I really want to try Disco Elysium.
I haven't even played Disco Elysium and it got my vote. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Best performance, we have Ashley Birch for Parvati in the Outer Worlds. Courtney Hope as Jesse Faden. Laura Bailey in Gears 5. Mads Mikkelsen, Death Stranding.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Poretta?
Yeah, I'd say Poretta.
Dr. Darling was really cool. I don't know if I would say... Oh, well, it's best performance. This is not like just voice acting. I really did like Dr. Darling a lot. And then Norman Reedus for Death Stranding. I don't know what I would give it to.
My vote's on Mads, personally.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's a great actor, and like most of the other people, apart from Poretta and Norman Reedus, they didn't do like full-on motion capture, I don't think, other than maybe Courtney Hope for Control.
Yeah. I liked Dr. Darling a lot.
Yeah, I'm just not that big a fan of Control, I guess.
I know, that makes me sad.
But I'm not a big fan of Bioshock or Prey either, so...
That really makes me sad.
Or does it make you mad?
Let's
That's
see.
fine.
Best ongoing game, Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite. I don't care about any of these. Destiny 2, maybe.
Yeah, I don't care about any of them either. Fortnite would probably get my respect vote because of
They
how
did
much they
do,
keep that game
yeah.
updated.
I mean, they did do some really cool things. As much as I hate Fortnite, they did some really cool things.
Yeah, but my personal vote went for Destiny 2 just because I like Destiny.
Ooh, best narrative. We have A Plague Tale: Innocence, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, Outer Worlds. I've only finished two of these. By the way. You have already voted for these?
But I can cancel my vote because I'm being skeptical on a few. So,
hi, Plan. You just started playing Apex again? I think A Plague Tale was a little overrated, if I'm being honest. Didn't really love the ending of that. I thought it was a really good game, but I thought the ending was a little cliche.
yeah.
I know you and I feel differently about this, but I loved Control. I think I would probably give that to the best narrative. Now, I haven't finished Death Stranding. I don't know how that's going to finish. I haven't finished Outer Worlds. Haven't played any of Disco, so it's hard for me to really vote on those.
I think if I'd played, based on what I've heard about the writing in Disco Elysium, it would go to that. But based on what I have played, I think I agree with you on A Plague Tale's ending. You know my thoughts on Control, and I think the Outer Worlds as well. So Death Stranding would probably get my vote at the minute.
Yeah. I'm also trying to think, is there anything that is not on here?
It's a good question.
You know what we're going to have to do, or maybe you've already done this, but I'm going to have to look through on VG247 like every single game that came out this year, because I feel like there's going to be some games that are missed.
I think Metro Exodus had a
I was just about to
story.
say Metro. What about Metro Exodus? I haven't played it, but...
You need to before the year is up.
I know, I do.
Days Gone also came out this year, which didn't have a terrible narrative. It was pretty decent.
Hey, French Toast. What's up? How are you? Plan, we're sharing the same haircut. You have the same haircut as me?
What a coincidence.
Let's see. Let's do maybe mobile game. Okay. Let's do multiplayer game. Best multiplayer game. Oh, for me, it's easily Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Yeah. My vote goes to COD 2,
Really?
even though I have more hours in Apex.
I was gonna say I thought you might vote on Borderlands, but I mean that's not really a multiplayer game.
Yeah, and I didn't play any co-op in Borderlands. Plus, after thinking on it, I'm not that big a fan of Borderlands 3 anyway.
Oh, really? You're not that big of a fan of Borderlands 3?
Well, sure, I enjoyed it, but like I had more fun in Destiny this year than I did Borderlands 3. Same with the Division 2. I had more fun in that than I did Borderlands 3.
No Destiny nominated for multiplayer game. Well, it was voted for. I mean, it didn't come out this year, so
yeah,
it was.
True. Although Shadowkeep came out this year, and yeah, I don't know.
Wait, what is Shadowkeep?
That was the latest expansion they brought out.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, but that wasn't really reviewed very well, was it?
No, but they were focusing on the story rather than kind of the ongoing content. But you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, we're skipping mobile games.
I just voted for What the Golf because it's also a PC game. And
I have heard really, really good things about that.
I want to try it, but I'm yet to pick it up.
Okay, let's do one more. Let's do independent game. We have Baba Is You, which I want to try out. I've heard really good things about that. Disco Elysium, heard really good things about that. Katana Zero, heard good things. Haven't played any of it.
Pretty good.
Outer Wilds, I haven't finished Outer Wilds, but I think I would have to give it to Outer Wilds.
I played about 2 minutes of the Outer Wilds, and it'd probably get my vote too.
It's really, really good and really interesting. And then we also have an Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah, like even in the description it says for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publishing system.
Yeah.
And I think the Outer Wilds created like an insanely cool game and a pretty massive technical achievement if you think about it.
Yeah, so, I agree.
I'd get my vote.
Yep, I agree. Well, I think maybe we save the other games for next week.
Okay.
And then, am I thinking right? Next week, and then, is that week the week of the Game Awards?
I will have to check. Because I can't remember when the Game Awards is, to be honest.
Oh, no, it's the 12th. So we have...
we have 2 more podcasts until then.
Okay, well, that'll be pretty good then. Because we may not get through all of them next week either.
Yeah, that's true.
Alrighty, well, I think that's going to do it for us today. Anything else you got?
I do not think so. I think we got through everything, surprisingly.
Yeah, I think we did pretty good. We do this podcast every week on Mondays at 1 p.m. Central Time. That's 8 p.m. European Time, 7 p.m. UK Time, and I don't know the other time zones. Figure it out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out and being here. We want to continue doing this, and we want to continue improving on this. It would be awesome if you could share this with anybody if you enjoy what we're doing. We're going to keep improving this and working on it, and we're going to try. My goal by the end of the year is to get these start getting these exported to where I have audio versions, and then I can upload them to YouTube and Stitcher and iTunes and all of those other places like that. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Squash, thank you so much as always.
No worries,
always love doing this with you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.